UFC 308 is officially over, and Ilia Topuria shocks the world by literally knocking out Max Holloway. This fight was insane. I knew there was an idea. The idea was Ilia Topuria could knock out Max Holloway, but Max Holloway has never been knocked out before. He's never been finished ever. And the fact that he went in this fight and he's put away back-to-back former featherweight champions. Now, I know Volkanovski was coming off a knockout loss to Islam Makhachev, but in the featherweight division, Volkanovski never lost. Got knocked out by Ilia Topuria. Then Max Holloway, former champion, never been knocked out before, gets put out badly in the third round against Ilia Topuria. Going into this fight, the idea was you got explosiveness from Ilia Topuria against volume. What's going to win? Will Topuria be able to push Max Holloway back, use the pressure and the threat of the wrestling and the power to put Max Holloway on his back foot and knock him out? And essentially that is what he did, actually. So we know now, looking back at it, explosiveness beat volume in this circumstance, right? In the first round, Ilia Topuria was looking good. He threw a lot of leg kicks, and it looked like there was a little bit of concern on Max Holloway's part about the calf kicks. He was eating a lot, and there was a time where we were kind of saying out loud he should be checking these, or at least maybe blitz in when he's throwing when Ilia Topuria throws a calf kick. And eventually, Max Holloway started doing that. He started throwing the right hand. He started playing at distance a little bit more. And at the end of the first round, Ilia Topuria picks up Max Holloway and sets him down. Didn't really do much in the grappling sense. He definitely transitioned well, and I don't think he really threatened any submission. That was like a clear threat to Max Holloway, but he definitely had, you could see his grappling skills. And Max Holloway does have good takedown defense, has definitely good grappling defense, but you could see the skill on Topuria. So that is something that we need to think about when he might fight Diego Lopez. Going to the second round, Max Holloway looked a lot better, started putting combinations together a lot better, and you started seeing the oblique kick, the kick like right above the knee to Max Holloway against Topuria. He started hitting Topuria with this oblique kick and started putting him on the back and actually started looking good. And there was a couple moments, a couple shots where Max Holloway hit Topuria. You could tell Topuria ate it, but was staying in the pocket, moving his head. The biggest thing that I was kind of surprised about, we didn't really see Ilia Topuria throw many body punches. Not as much as what he usually does or how he sets up, but he was pretty much headhunting the entire time. But how Ilia Topuria knocked out Max Holloway is very similar to how he knocked out Volkanovski. In the beginning of the rounds, especially rounds 1 and 2, Ilia Topuria was throwing the right hook a lot. Throwing the right hook, trying to get Max Holloway to circle out that direction. Throwing the right hook a lot. In the third round, actually Topuria cracked Max Holloway before he dropped him with a right hand. A simple 1-2 down the middle cracks Max Holloway. Might have been the hardest punch I've ever seen Max Holloway take, not dropping. Max Holloway's chin is undeniable. I just hope this isn't a Tony Ferguson thing where Max Holloway is now on the decline after getting knocked out. But Max Holloway gets cracked with the right hand. Ilia Topuria starts marching forward, throws a overhand left, overhand right, going to the body, and then he throws the overhand right again. Max Holloway is like kind of like getting out of the way, moving his head down. Then Ilia Topuria throws an overhand, like a left hook, drops Max Holloway like on his face, starts ground and pounding, and they stop the fight. It was by far the craziest knockout I have seen, not just in the featherweight division, but in the UFC. Seeing a fighter and his aura of coming up, the energy, the smoke, being able to talk shit and say, brother, I don't know why I used a fucking Russian accent, but Ilia Topuria is saying, dude, I'm going to knock you out. Like, I'm going to knock you out. You've never been knocked down before, knocked out, whatever. I'm going to knock you out. And he literally knocks him out. You know what's crazy? The BMF belt does have a curse to it, right? Jorge Masvidal has a BMF belt. Right after the BMF belt, after he wins the BMF belt against Nate Diaz, he gets brutally knocked out against Kamaru Usman, right? Then, right, the belt is Dustin and Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje knocks out Dustin Poirier for the BMF belt. Then Justin Gaethje gets brutally knocked out against Max Holloway. Then Max Holloway, who's a BMF champion, gets brutally knocked out by Ilia Topuria. And obviously this fight didn't have the BMF title on it. It's just ironic. It's just kind of what a crazy coincidence this is. Whoever holds the BMF belt is getting flatlined in their next fucking fight pretty much. Yeah, this was wild. This was a crazy fight. Ilia Topuria is that next guy. I think you got to run the Diego Lopez fight. I think you run that fight. You see how the winner between Movsar Evloev and Aljamain Sterling looks. You win that, and then you go up a weight class, right? I don't want to see the rematch with Volkanovski. At the end of the fight, Volkanovski and Topuria had this exchange, and, Topuria basically said, I will give you the rematch. You had 7 title defenses. You earned it. But nobody wants to see that because, we want to see new things. And 27 years of age, Ilia Topuria is. Have him fight Diego Lopez while they're still young. Have him fight Movsar Evloev, new challenge, or Aljamain Sterling, which would be amazing. Former champion, big grappler against Ilia Topuria. He would probably get knocked out, but it'd be a fun fight. Give him these new fights, these new challenges, and then when he's 30 or maybe 29, after he completes these 2 or 3 fights, then he moves up, and he's still in his prime. Featherweight champion, multiple defenses, goes to lightweight, wins the belt, or maybe holds 2 belts at once. We could do that. Next fight for Ilia Topuria is definitely got to be Diego Lopez or the winner of Movsar Evloev and Aljamain Sterling. But Diego Lopez is obviously next. Or I wouldn't mind Alexander Volkanovski fighting Diego Lopez for the number 1 contender. I wouldn't mind that. But I do not want to see Volkanovski. It's not that I don't think Volkanovski deserves it. He kind of does, right? Because his one loss at featherweight is against Topuria. Right, and it doesn't look good when you are trying to sell a championship fight and the opponent, the challenger, has back-to-back losses against Islam Makhachev and then Ilia Topuria. That's hard to promote, but at featherweight he kind of does deserve it. But Diego Lopez, could you imagine Diego Lopez, his grappling and his wildness to Ilia Topuria? Ilia Topuria would definitely have to worry about the grappling and the clinch game, but Topuria could chin Diego Lopez. And Diego Lopez always does that like throat thing or chin thing where he's like grabbing his throat. I could see Topuria putting out the lights of Diego Lopez. But it would be a very interesting fight, and you really wouldn't know how it would go. You would have a sense that the grappling would be 50-50, but then the striking, Ilia Topuria wins that. This fight was insane for Max Holloway. I think we might be done in the featherweight division for Max Holloway. I think I've seen enough. He's not over. He's definitely not over. He's still there. He just put out the Korean Zombie, put out Justin Gaethje, and then he got knocked out, lost to Ilia Topuria. But I think he goes to lightweight now. I think the weight cut, you ain't got to do that no more. He's proven enough in the featherweight division. He doesn't have to come back and try and beat Ilia Topuria. I don't want to see Max Holloway fight Volkanovski, Diego Lopez, rematch with Yair or Brian Ortega or Aljamain. I don't want to see any of that. I want to see him move up. I would like to see Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway. That'd be a fun, trilogy fight right there. Or Dan Hooker and Max Holloway. I think that would be a very, very fun fight for Max Holloway. Or do Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler and Oliveira. The winner of that fights Max Holloway, or, put the BMF belt on. Oliveira and Max Holloway for a BMF belt, or Conor McGregor. This would be a good fight for Conor McGregor to come back to, fight Max Holloway, who's coming off a knockout loss to Ilia Topuria, BMF belt. You could do that. You could sell a BMF championship fight between Max Holloway and Conor McGregor. This was a crazy main event. In the co-main event, Khamzat Chimaev chokes out in the first round, or not chokes out, it's a neck crank. It's a neck crank. He literally fucking breaks his jaw. Look at this. That is Robert Whittaker's teeth. That's his mouth. Okay, like that. What the world? That is insane. He does that. Khamzat Chimaev, we totally had this co-main event prediction totally wrong. We thought going into this fight it was going to be a decision win. Khamzat struggles with his weight against Kevin Holland, ragdolls him, and then struggles against Kamaru Usman with his weight, goes to a decision, but if it was 5 rounds, Kamaru Usman was probably going to win. going into this fight, we're thinking, okay, Khamzat, weird weight cut, looked weird on the weight scales, and then completely demolishes Robert Whittaker. Like, the grappling was a clear one-sided affair. This wasn't like Robert Whittaker and Yoel Romero where it's like a lot of scrambles. This was clear. Robert Whittaker's getting put on his back. He's going to his knees. Khamzat's getting mount. Khamzat has his hooks in. Khamzat has the back. He's got the rear naked choke, and he's got the neck crank. Immediately, he crushes his jaw. And Robert Whittaker, it didn't even seem like it was that tight. Obviously, it was. Look at his jaw. But Robert Whittaker literally tapped fucking immediately on his and the fucking neck crank just happened. Like, and then he taps. Like, that quick. Like, there was no fighting it. There was nothing. So, I don't know if Robert Whittaker got cracked with a right hand or something, and his mouth was already broken or his jaw was already broken. Then the neck crank on top of that, worsened it. I don't know. But Khamzat Chimaev, we did not predict that at all. I think everybody was wrong about that. I don't think really anybody thought Khamzat was going to go in there in the first round. Not even at the 4-minute mark. Within 3 minutes, he takes down Robert Whittaker and chokes him out. Or fucking neck cranks him, submits him, breaks his jaw. A former champion, Khamzat Chimaev and Ilia Topuria have now beaten back-to-back former champions. Robert Whittaker, former middleweight champion. Kamaru Usman, former welterweight champion. Ilia Topuria beats Max Holloway, former featherweight champion. Knocks out Volkanovski, former featherweight champion. For Abu Dhabi, this was an excellent showing of champions, the number one contenders, the who's who of it, right? Ilia Topuria does his thing. Next fight's going to be even bigger. And now if they go into Spain, huge. Khamzat Chimaev, who knows if he's going to even be able to fight on U.S. soil. Him versus Sean Strickland or Dricus du Plessis, whoever wins that fight, interesting fight. In the first round, nobody beats Khamzat. He is quite literally just the best fighter there is. Like, you can't stop him. I think Khamzat Chimaev, you just wait. Wait for the Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland fight and fight right away. You beat Robert Whittaker, who is clearly the number one contender. I mean, that's... You're next for the belt. If Khamzat wanted to stay active now, he should look at UFC 312 and look at fighting Israel Adesanya if he wants to make a point. Like, listen, I don't care if it's for the belt or not. I just want to beat everybody in this division. That's how Khamzat can climb the rankings of greatest of all time or great middleweights or, get into that stature. If Khamzat Chimaev fights for the belt, if it's against Sean Strickland, that's very interesting because we haven't really seen Sean Strickland's grappling. And if it's Dricus du Plessis, can Dricus withhold Khamzat enough in the first round without gassing out, right? Because Dricus du Plessis, I think his whole thing is like he always looks like he's tired but somehow always wins. With Sean Strickland, it's just like get him off of you. And the grappling would definitely put Sean Strickland on his back foot. Very interesting between those two fights. I think Khamzat Chimaev really might be the scariest first-round fighter I've ever seen. I don't know if he can win a belt like this, like only going out all out in the first round, because if you go all out in the first round, you take the second round off. Third round, you're starting to come back, but you're slower. And then fourth and fifth round, like, you got to hope to God you're not on the back foot or losing, or you get demolished. So very interesting. That was my immediate breakdown or reaction video to UFC 308. Ilia Topuria, oh my, insane, and Khamzat Chimaev, great fighters. We're going to do a full in-depth breakdown later on this week about this fight and maybe talk about who should fight who. Be sure to comment who you think they should fight next, or what should happen. Should Ilia Topuria look at Islam Makhachev and go ahead and try and move up a weight class, or should he fight Diego Lopez? And should Khamzat wait or fight Israel Adesanya? Very interesting things, a lot that could happen. Be sure to comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.